Good morning, everyone. This is Evelyn. I have a lot of information to bring you. Let's go ahead first and take 3 deep breaths. Take another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to all of you. I hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful sunny day here. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to show you the pictures of my reads first. For those of you not familiar, these are channeled reads that are done prior to the video because it takes me a long time to put out the reads, and I channel through writing as well as through the pictures on the cards, and then again through presentation of this to you. So I get multiple energies coming through on each stage of that. And a lot of energies were coming through to me when I couldn't sleep the other night. From the 24th to the 25th, I didn't sleep all night again. That happened last weekend as well. And I had a wedding to go to, so dealing with a lot of energies and visits to the house and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, a lot of different energies coming up this week. So let's show you the pictures of what's going on. I have a big message of the day, some energies that came through that night I couldn't sleep. I also have the union read, the twin flame read that's in front of you, which is my 7-deck read. They are general reads for the twin flame community. If something doesn't resonate with you, don't force it to fit. It may not be for you. If you want something more personalized, you can see my information below, as well as on my website, twinflames3344.com. I also have a CD out there called Ashes, Twin Towers to Twin Flames by Evelyn Stainthorpe if you want to check it out. It's only $1 for a song. It's on Google Play and Amazon and CD Baby and iTunes. If you want to check it out, it's only about $1. And let's get right into this read. All right, so here is the message of the day. I actually have 2 pictures here because it was a big read. Okay, you see the message of the day. And for those, I just pull the cards that are being guided to come out of the deck. So there's a lot of cards that came out in this message of the day. Here is the union read from the Syrian Starseed deck. Okay, for those of you not familiar, it's a 4D, 5D, 6D read for the feminine on the left, masculine on the right, the bridge between them in the center, incoming divine feminine, outgoing divine masculine over here, the underlying energies and the closing energies from the Syrian Starseed deck. That's also the Syrian Starseed deck for the read in front of you on the table, the general twin flame read, and here's that full 7-deck read on the table. For those of you not familiar with the decks that I use, I have Romance Angels, I have the Numerology deck, the Tarot Sexual Magic, the Rider-Waite Mini, the Gilded Tarot, the Universal Golden Tarot, and of course the Syrian Starseed deck, and I put Oracle cards at the end. And if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you might want to listen to the beginning and then the end as well, because that wraps up with the Oracle cards, all the messages that have been coming through the reads. Excuse me. All right, we're going to roll the die as well to see what energies are coming up from the planets and the signs and the numbers. I'm very based in numerology. I've been doing numerology probably since I was a teenager. I was always interested in astrology and also tarot cards, but probably when I was younger, I was never confident enough to trust my own intuition to give that to you guys. That's only something recent in the past years since I started this channel in 2017. So let's see what comes up from the die here. All right, we have Pluto here. Very profound transformation with Scorpio energy there. We have Aries Ram here, Ram truck tough. We have the one of the Magician, so very masculine energy there. Very profound, right? Aries is that Mars energy too. Scorpio and Aries are very Mars, and then we Pluto enhancing that deep transformation of Scorpio, and the one of the Magician, which also can be Gemini, Virgo. Aries comes through Gemini, through the Magician for me as well. So again, a very significant masculine energy here, very profound and deep transformation, and very aggressive as well. So let's see what's coming up here. Before I go into the reads, the night I couldn't sleep, my guides were looping lots of different messages through, and I couldn't remember them all, but the ones I did remember, there was lots of visuals that came through with them as well. I'm going to give you now, as best as I can. I am going to try to drop some of the technical drawings so that I can explain them better later on, and maybe I'll post them to Instagram, which I have done some of my technical drawings. My old ones, I just recently, it's 12:21 on the clock, by the way. I just recently posted some of my technical drawings with explanations in the comments. So those are something that I had verbally given before, but the explanation is a little bit different in the comments that I wrote on Instagram. So you might want to check out that as well if you're interested in that. My safety pin example about the energy between the twins is up on there, as well as a few other things. I have some more stuff that's coming through now. So the other night, the 24th to the 25th, it was actually a night before the wedding I had to go to. So I went to this wedding without any sleep. So obviously it didn't last very long that night, but it was a beautiful wedding. The first thing that came up was the energy of I am that I am. The I am was coming up as I am child that I am. So instead of I am that I am, it's I am child that I am. It's that innocent energy of exploration and wanting to expand and being very curious about what is new to learn or to find. Also, remember the AM is the AM or the morning, and the AM was coming up as the AMM together as three mountains. And then the first mountain is the A with the line across, which is the I of I am, where the I is then crossing the first mountain of three, which crosses off the 3D of the 3D, 4D, 5D, which has been coming up a lot this past week. So that's one of the things that's been coming up, crossing one mountain or bridge at a time, where 3D is now checked off the list. And then the word Lucifer came up, right? Because Lucifer obviously is the fallen angel. Everyone knows of that, the energy of the dark fallen angel. But also the word Lucifer means light. And they were guiding me to break it down to give you a different explanation. And first it was coming up as it was coming through first through them while I was trying to go to sleep as the Lu is the falling star. The C, or the CI, is the shooting star, and the Fer, F-E-R for Lucifer, is the Phi energy of the F, and the E-R, which is urgent, right? Which is, I always tell you with the Phi energy, it's expansion and contraction, but if you stay in the middle, it's reflection. So it's urgent reflection needed here regarding the falling star and the shooting star, which then becomes the reflection, urgent reflection of the rising star, or the shift to the middle is reflection. Lucifer means to beam with joy, shine, sparkle, to be. The shine is the divine feminine through divine masculine's fear. The Lu of, actually Lucy came up, L-U-C-I, which also means Lucas, L-U-C-U-S, which is funny because I have a relative who's pregnant, I believe Lucas is the name they're going to use for the child. But again, the Lucy is the energy of the shine, the sparkle, the shimmer, the glisten, the beaming with joy. Whereas the F-E-R of Lucifer is where the fear comes in, the Phi energy and the urgent reflection needed. It means fear, but it also means the sword, right? The reflection of truth off the sword, the harshness or cruelty that sometimes that can bring, the sharpness of it, the fierceness. But it also means action, the Fer, to do, to make up, to make do, to give, to lay, to cause, to go, and just to be the husband and being fair, to play, to measure, being wild and iron, right? The man and also one, far and distant, fear and sword, cruel, harsh, fierce, and remote all come up under the word F-E-R. So fear, stood out the most of the F-E-R because we're talking about this beautiful shining and sparkling and glistening and beaming with joy of the Lucy, which is funny because my aunt's Lucy and I just saw her last week. And then Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds comes up with that. It's very sparkly and new and diamondy, whereas the FER is the masculine energy of needing to do something all the time. And then the fear also using the sword of truth to guard themselves, to reflect the energy back to someone when they don't trust it. That wildness of the masculine that needs to be tamed or reined in, right? The moderation of the acceleration and then the break of the feminine, the shifting to the middle. So that energy was coming up with the I am that I am and the child that I am. And then my cousin was named, AM was coming up in morning, which is very similar to my cousin's name, which is funny, that came up. So Amy, the name was coming up. And then the skier they were showing me. So, right, so you have a new skier with the poles in their hands. And when they're scared, they lose their balance, right? And both poles go out, so their arms are stretched out very wide. They're very polarized with their poles. Whereas the person who's skiing is the victim in the middle, scared. One pole is the savior and one pole is the perpetrator. And it's up to the victim in the middle to shift the poles, right? Because the savior's not going to shift, the perpetrator's not going to shift. The victim needs to shift, which then pulls in the poles tight into the body, where then the skier has control. So instead of yikes and fear and polarized, as the skier shifts and brings in their poles, the polarization, they become refocused. The victim shifts as they pull the poles in. So that's a good visualization of remembering the polar shift and what needs to happen. It's always up to the victim to shift, because the polarities don't shift. It's the one in the middle that shifts. So then you have the skier with the poles in tight, able to control the energies in a more moderate way. And then they were showing me the energy of the soap opera. And literally the words of soap opera was coming up as singing in the rain, right? Soap is taking a shower in the opera. Singing in the rain, and love rain on me. And then all my children was coming up as all my, like the selfish child, all my children, of course. It's like saying children. And then one life to live was coming up as one, right? We are one, and we have life to live. And then General Hospital was coming up as generally in need of lots of patience, okay? And then Lucifer was coming back in here as the man, the husband, the one, the distant with sword, wild, harsh, but who does a lot, does, makes up, gives, lays, causes, plays, and measures, and is, through Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Again, the diamond in the rough is that Ace of Pentacles breaking through the ground. Falling star sees shooting star and reflects by rising or shifting or shifty to be more centered in the universe. The Lu is also, Lu itself without Lucy is circuit of life. It's also the vagina, the swinging motion perhaps of that sexual act. To offer, donate, and the trumpet also came up here and another place in the reads today. The wolf or lupus comes up here, the animal bone, and the big vase to contain water, which is the uterus, right? It's the Holy Grail energy. The fox, the wolf here come up, as well as the head. You, yours, he, him, she, her, it, and that all come up under Lu. The circuit of life, or the container for the water, right? The uterus which holds the child. The CI is the water, right? So Lu is the container, CI is the water. It also comes up as the vehicle to shine slow. Or the vehicle, the Lu is the vehicle that holds the CI, which is the water, which is to shine, right? The emotional water that glistens in the sun. To shine, glow, roast, cook. The dog comes up here as well as who? It's to him, to her, whereas the Lu is him or her, it. This is the action of to him, to her, to them, here, this, these. It's also opposites, contraries, the polarization, the river and the mouth, each other, going back and forth. The circuit or container of the Lu, of the container of life, and then the emotional heart of the water of the sea, CI, the Lu being the vehicle, and then the sea being the being to sew it together, right? The quilt together, or the lathe, and then expanding or contracting and reflecting or shined, or shimmered. To fear or use sword, to send perhaps back the light, or send the light with a sword, or Iron Man, or reflect thoughts instead. You can choose to do, or you can choose to be. You can choose one, or being distant, to play or to be cruel, to pulled in or be wild and free, or choose to shift and compromise. Please. So again, here is that image of the skier with the poles. All right, so you have the scared skier here of the polarized version in fear, and then here's the one who shifts and pulls the poles in. Therefore, there's no savior and perpetrator anymore. It's more of a balanced, moderate version here. So then the energy of the heart was coming up and the shape. I was watching Amanda yesterday, Amanda Ellis, and the end of her video, she talked as embers, I believe is in her title as well. And she said to visualize the embers of the fire coming up, and what are you seeing? And what I was seeing was the circling of the embers. It seemed like it was an L, but then it definitely became a heart shape. And it was funny because then she said to pull it into your heart, but I was getting a heart shape, and then the heart shape into the heart. But I was getting, I thought, an L as well, but I didn't know what the L meant. So then they were showing me the heart shape, and that comes up in some of the other messages that came through. So I'll wait for a minute to go into the heart shape because that was very important too. So let's first get to the message of the day, which was at 101 to 104 yesterday. The 101 is that energy, the magician, but also the 10 of the wheel and the turn for the better. After an event, perhaps of many looking at one event, the spider, and it's that energy of the fire ants, and then the firefly came up as well. But the fire ants is like that crowd, right, who can't resist the accident that happened. They all gather around the fight to see the fight, or it can be something beautiful that everybody wants a piece of it, right? But it's that lower vibration energy, that very ego energy. So after this event of many looking at the one event in the center, the spider then becomes one alone with the net or web, now the focused around them in the rainbow energy. The swans more balanced, two as one, and the tiger a reflection of the lion's truth or the lion's share. The anchoring and burdens, post-war cleanup duty, which is funny because they had to, after the wedding, they were doing a lot of the cleanup themselves. But this is the energy of the vulture coming up, right? They naturally are cleanup duty, right? Everybody has a position. The vulture loves to clean up, so let them do their cleanup. Anchoring the burdens, post-war cleanup duty. The King of Wands upright and the Man of Passion is drained of energy, and the Queen of Pentacles upright is perhaps financially drained, or time to be still and not spend, or time to zone out for a few minutes. There may be an ill man, perhaps, with love of a child or a little girl, perhaps in a change of occupation or being more occupied with the thief energy, whether it's someone actually stealing or someone stealing your heart. We have the Queen of Wands and perhaps somebody with bad health, or perhaps they're tired or sick to their stomach or getting a test. The lovers in the affection of the little girl and the wealthy man, or with unexpected income and new passion for a message or to drive to mature woman, and the lion with truth here, or the man with thoughts of them, the tiger coming up as the mature woman, and the lion as the man. The tiger with a cross or burden of withholding, or playing hardball, or with saving for a mother or a mature woman. Two swans and the tiger, perhaps burdened by a delayed new life, with mature woman at the lion, who contemplates giving her the truth. So the lion's energized. I mean, the tiger's very energized to go forward here. They're looking right at you. The tiger's more relaxed, contemplating what they want to do. So we have the first pile of the camel, the rider, the 10 of cups reversed, and high honors. The camel is very independent, perhaps a little blue, on the ride home after happy family event, or honoring that is over, or now friend from an unhappy family with 21 gun salute, or now freed from that unhappy family with 21 gun salute. And then the Magician and the Knight of Wands manifesting a passionate movement here. And again, these type of energies, I wasn't thinking of that, but I experienced both of them within the past week, because last week was my mother's memorial event, and then this week was a wedding. Two very different energies, but both honoring type events. The second pile is the snake and the shark and the poisonous snake, and the shark circles, right? It's when your mind's circling around and there's an elephant in the room. And then we have the poisonous snake or the poison apples in the garden, and the Fool free to leap away from toxic energies, even if it means poverty. The Chariot or vehicle of the King of Cups, which is unconditional love. Remember, the Chariot is the feminine within the masculine. They are the Chariot of ascension. The third pile is the Rabbit or the Bunny, the Sun, the Eight of Cups reversed, and the Courtship. The Bunny in fear, seeing if the coast is clear, but it's a bright sunny day or everything exposed, and uncomfortable with courtship or unsure what may happen. Expanding with the 31, the Emperor of the Four, which is also control and stability, with conflict, play, battle, or pursuit of happiness, a group of herd survival or herd mentality or herd immunity is all coming up here. The building, the structure, the archetype of the energy of survival with the number 4, whereas the number 8 is the manifestation of dreams as opposed to just survival. And the 4 is that very root-based energy. The fourth pile here is the Firefly, the Page of Cups, the Lovers in the House. Short-lived inspiration here with the innocent pup, perhaps wanting lover to take the lead, or a dog may be waiting for someone to take them for a walk, perhaps about or at a house or home, romantic notions of judgment and a wake-up call or subconscious judgment and or announcement here. The fifth pile of the Whale, who's struggling to dive deep in the dirty or dark waters or emotions, with the King of Swords reversed, with certain expectations, or perhaps a lady with such. New love, self-love, and choice of path or twin flame. And the sixth pile is the Horse, which can be Mr. Ed. Also time, and the King of Cups, which is unconditional love. I was just getting the Horse with no name. The message of concern, unending energy of source with all the time in the world, and unconditional love, sending or receiving a message of concern, with female getting the message at 212, which is the High Priestess and the Hanging Man, or perhaps trying to see a new perspective or be wise. The King of Cups, love, and the Temperance, a higher love, which is ultimately patience and compassion, or even inspiration and compassion of the energy of passion. The Seven of the Stingray, the gift and flowers, the Page of Cups reversed, and despair, plugged in and turned on, activated with gifts, or a gift, or flowers, and the Page of Cups reversed, feeling rejected or in despair of, with and rejected, man in despair, the Hermit on a journey, and or the pup or innocent one, not well, or the Page of Cups reversed, not feeling well under the radar, or just feeling vulnerable and shy, or perhaps spoiled and entitled, or this can be a baby just crying. The eighth pile is the Vulture, the cleanup crew, spiritual maturity, and the Knight of Wands, that energy, to get things done, and then the empty room. So there's definitely that cleanup duty, and, with it ending up being spanking clean. Cleanup duty, but also doo-doo coming up, or drained energy source. Gifts of flowers, or peace and maturity, or old age and wisdom with positive attitude, where cleanup goes fast. Union and completion here. Making lemons out of lemonade, with alchemy, and making a positive a negative out of a negative, making a negative a positive, or a positive out of a negative situation. So the Camel leaves as the shark attacks. The Bunny and the Firefly and the Whale are all depleted, or the shark is there to trigger others or be toxic and walk away to expose others' fears in order to release them. And then the Horse, the Stingray, and the Vulture are there for the cleanup crew. The journey through the toxic garden to expose innocence and vulnerabilities, the subconscious energies, the toxic water and apples, and the time to replace or add with lots of flowers, time and gifts, and peace. So again, the three abstracts were coming up of time, love, and death. And love was coming up as the gifts, and death as peace. The emotional cycle over, time to leap with an open heart. When you're uncomfortable with lover or affections of the King of Swords reversed, there's also the King of Cups upright and the Page of Cups reversed and the Knight of Wands upright. So the King of Cups is unconditionally loving, and the Knight of Wands has the passion to get it done, but the Page of Cups is feeling vulnerable or spoiled, and the King of Swords is in negative talk or being verbally abusive. So someone could be silent or snarky, loving, rejected, or crying, vulnerable, and or the Knight of Wands may be supercharged. In honor of energy, to move impoverished, but with big love here, to court at the house with lady in waiting, with lady getting the message it's taking too long to grow up, and now the journey is done. The room or space is all cleaned up, ready for the next to come in. So again, it's that energy of turning things over to get them ready for the next. Whether it's a room in your house or your business or an event and ready for the next, whatever it is for you. Like a moth to the flame, the bat flies away, the sun with the powers and the Queen of Cups with twin bridges. Perhaps to repair, to create, or perhaps they've been burned or you're going to burn them. The masculine energy coming up is uncomfortable in their emotions, or perhaps uncomfortable with dealing with emotions, and she recovering from exile. He with concerns of standing up for themselves, and she working the assembly line or having to go back to work. Christmas wings, mountainous institution, uncomfortable bridging the gap, recovering burned bridges to rebuild, or trading places perhaps, of the boss and the worker. Perhaps now the worker becomes the boss and vice versa. The moth green, sewing back or seeing back. This was very interesting. So the moth and the bat were coming up here, but the moth is green and it looks like you're looking at the same thing from two different perspectives. So the moth you're seeing, like, the moth to the flame, you're seeing them fly right into the sun and they look green from the back, going into the sun. But they look like a bat as you see the front of them. If you're in front of them coming toward the sun, then they look red when you're seeing them from the front with the earth behind them. Red and green become muddy and brown, needing a lot of grounding to go toward the sun. At 236, which is the High Priestess, and the 36 of the Atlas, the weight of the world upon your shoulders. And remember that, green and red are the colors of Christmas. But when you put green and reds together, they get very brown and very earthy and muddy, that kind of energy. At 237 is the High Priestess and the 37 of the King of Cups. Meeting under, that was just my daughter going out. Meeting under the mistletoe. So there's that Christmas energy again. The Sun and the Queen of Cups. Jesus and Mary Magdalene, or Christ and Sophia. Ghosts of Christmas past, presents and futures. The Department of Labor also coming up here. And I was just getting up, getting that energy of Santa Claus with all the elves, in the Department of Labor up there. At 12:44 on the clock here, which is the Hanging Man, and the grounding, integrating, and mastering of love, especially receiving love, like receiving gifts from Santa Claus. The collective awakening of the power man, the wounded warrior, to the main male, the divine masculine in his journey to come clean or clean up their act or space or cleanup duty. The hummingbird, clearing, and the croc's nose is cut off to spite their face. And so now the crocodile who's cut off their nose to spite their face is using the hummingbird to replace the tip of their nose as a platform to speak about their darkness. Two is one, but the fox walked away. The Knight of Cups reversed may be jealous or a false person, right? That can be a schmoozer, but they can also just be jealous or feeling rejected or moody. But it also can be that person who kisses up to everyone to get false attention. That false person or false couple here, or someone rejected or jealous due to masks and fans, the croc or crocodile, or the croc of the fox and scam, the inequity of debt and unfairness, with or of the main female, or telling on them, or seeing another side of them, The Queen of Wands being patient here, or impatient fallen angel or Sagittarius reversed, dancing with the shadow and the light, having strength and courage, and needing good health here too, needed for secrets, high priestess, and psychic abilities. The tarantula and the wolf, filling in where the wolf is losing hair. This was very interesting, these two pairing. So in the card, the wolf looks like they have very sparse hair, right? Because there's just a lot of white there, not filled in, like the tarantula is very, very dense hair. It's like the tarantula is filling in the hair of the wolf's body, their fur. They're filling in where the wolf is losing hair. The tarantula with a lot, with crossroads for the child. The Queen of Cups of the Empress reversed, no longer child, and the child's off to seek their own fortune as the parent becomes the child and receiving new gifts. The Fool in transition, the Page of Wands inspired to shine. And you know, that's that excited child type of energy. So again, trading places. There's a lot of trading places here, whether it's the boss and the worker or the child and the parent, right? As the parents get old, they get more childlike, and the child tends to grow up more, being more like the parent. We have the mouse, the bee, and the zebra then. Friends seeing child without the mother to look closer at subconscious and gossip and fun stuff, you know, like when young people get together. Perhaps catching up without mama bear around. Grounding and integrating the journey of the shadow side, the high priestess and celebration, the needing emotions to anchor down and coming clean on the journey to the courthouse perhaps. Or perhaps just legal paperwork or things that have to get done. There could be something legal here. And the courthouse can also be the house of courting. It doesn't have to be legal. It can be something where you want to court someone, where there can be a love courtship or courting someone for a job. So then we have the phoenix, the gazelle, the star, and the deer, where the gazelle and the deer look very much the same, except for the fact that the gazelle has longer ears and horns. They're both very peaceful, and the deer is, of course, the deer one. The phoenix rising from the ashes as the gazelle, who's very peaceful on the Serengeti, and the star and the deer, who are very much more still. There's not as much movement as with the phoenix and the gazelle. Rising from the ashes after falling gracefully on the Serengeti or plains, or rising from disgrace and shining your lights, dear ones, falling, shooting, and rising stars, the dark night, the 4D bridge, and the collective awakening here, or to break, to rebuild bridges and shine, dear ones. The gazelle with 2 horns and longer ears than the deer, their shadow, or lower chakra system, the lower, middle, and upper, or the red, orange, and yellow, the yellow, green, and blue, and then the balloon purple and white, which is coming up as the reverse of Lucifer. The red, yellow, and orange are coming up as the fur, or the expansion contraction, where you need to learn to reflect, as opposed to the polarization. The C of the middle, CI, of the yellow, green, and blue, of the heart, solar plexus, and the throat. And then the Lu is the shining light of the blue, purple, and white at the top of the chakra system. The Lucifer, if you write it backwards, is reficule, which is coming up as the top down. Because the fur part is the reference, and that's the red, orange, and yellow. So the closest thing that came up to reficule, R-E-F-I-C-U-L, was reficio. So R-E-F-I-C with I-O on the end, which also is E-O in Italian, or I. So reficio means I make over, I rebuild, I reconstruct, restore, renew, repair, or fix, reappoint, recruit, I get back, I get in return, I make strong again, I invigorate, refresh, and restore. So reficio is, if you want just the refic part, it's all of these things without the I, right? So anyone can rebuild and reconstruct. It doesn't have to be I have to do it, right? So we have that energy. Also note that reficular is very close to reticular, and when you write T in script, it looks like an upside down F of the reficular, and the reticular means net-like or network or little net, like the grid, the pattern of interconnected objects, or the second part of the stomach, right? Once it's been initially digested, so like the initial stuff has been taken care of. Or aids with alignment, reticle is a grid or colander, so a sift. It's like, like going through the first part of the stomach. It gets rid of some of the stuff that you need to take care of already. So reficule was coming up as I see you all. Where then I was getting as the Lucifers, Colonel Clink saying, I see nothing. So I see, as opposed to I see nothing or denying it, right? The reficule is I see you all. It was very interesting the way that was coming up. So the UL is an upload. It's also I sit down, I bend, I tilt, decrease, reduce, land, diminish, close, I put down or demote, degrade or debase. The ash, which actually means light in the Pleiadian, the water, the river, the heart, the crazy and the wild, a howl, a hive, a beehive, a prison, a stick, and a lid. So the energy was coming up as the reficio is the restore without I, like I said before. But you also have the ash of light and the heart of love, light and love. To sit down, bend the closed unit, to put a lid on it, which is funny because I was working on the toilet because my toilet's running today, which is all about trying to get a lid on it, right? And guard to the queen bee, the lifeblood of the beehive. The healed star takes a risk to write or communicate or seal the deal and commit to the circle of trust, or the tower with the Knight of Cups inspired to save the day and sweep her off her feet. The Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help. This can be a missed opportunity as well. Juggling the Queen of Swords reversed and the Knight of Pentacles upright. This could be a contract they're dealing with too. But juggling the Queen of Swords reversed and the Knight of Pentacles upright, looking forward but coming back. The community with sudden wealth and mature man imprisoned. The Knight of Cups justice expanding gifts, or what was once a source of wealth is now imprisoned by it, wanting to be free to use their gifts. So something that may have before been something wonderful to you, it has now become a prison to you because it restricts you from being who you truly are, or somebody else. The elephant with their third eye that stings, causing the Black Panther to growl and the eagle to pounce or land and dig their claws or talons in. Into the elk, who's coming up here as the hothead, or really uncomfortable landing on antlers, right? If you land on an elk, that's very painful ending, and especially antlers that are on fire with a hothead. The cheetah is ready to roll back with butterflies still transforming, and the little lamb is a target of the elk who hasn't eaten right, and so they get very egotistical and demanding, prima donna kind of ish. And you know how they get. So the octopus needs boundaries, or the peacock is the one who needs to put boundaries up with the elk, who's being stubborn and bullish because they haven't been eating right, taking it out on the lamb, or perhaps the lamb they ate instead of the pork chops they actually wanted. The phoenix bird, from the elephant to the cheetah. Graceful gazelle with stinger, or got stung, or the graceful gazelle got stung and then transformed because of it. The star is growling as they're hungry for lamb chops but got lamb or pork chops instead. And then that brings up the song about being called pork chops. I don't remember what it's called, but if you know the rant, it's a beautiful thing. It always makes me tear up about, I forget what it's called, but it's a long, beautiful song rant about what it's like to grow up and be in the prison of school, right, when you're a misfit. And it's the story about how they were called pork chops because of something that happened when they were young. So, dear one, the eagle coming in for a rocky landing to climb the rocky steps and be the winner that he is, which actually happened this past week, or the wise one taking ego down a notch with sights on innocent lamb who's still transforming from their hurt from the past. So, and it's interesting, the Rocky stuff came up. So Sylvester Stallone and Rocky and all that kind of stuff. And actually, my friend growing up, her father was a mortician, and he used to drive Rocky downtown when they were actually filming the movies. The union read here is the 40, 50, 60 union for Today is the 27th. The 27 is the Ace of Wands, that new passion. And remember that passion has ego in it. Inspiration is that pure stream, but when you add ego, you get passion, okay? So we have the 27 of the Ace of Swords, and then we have, let's see, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. We have 31 today? Today is the 27th, right? Yes, I believe that's correct. So 27, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I'm sorry, it's 40. So we have 40, which is the Page of Cups, which is very innocent energy along with that passion, right? Innocence and passion for the union here at 407. And you know, for me, I always talk about that being the sweet spot of the numbers. 4 to 7 is the middle road, just erring to the side of the light or the higher numbers. And 4 to 7 comes up in a lot of different ways. 4 is the Emperor, 7 is the Chariot, and 0 is the space between. So we have the Page of Cups in the underlying energy, the Knight of Swords in the center, the 7 of Pentacles, or the Divine Feminine's heart, at the end. And I looked up to see when the new moon was coming up, and it came up in Astrology King. And with the new moon, which is coming up on the 6th, I believe, yeah, October 6th, Libra, 13 degrees, 24 inch, at 7:05:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 6th. But they were also noting in Astrology King that the new moon also may come with violence and revenge and even rape. And accidents. So it's very important. What else did I write there? It's very important to keep a positive approach and use physical activity, right, to vent anything out, to be productive. And also passion and romance can come up in a positive sense here. So be careful about the energies here with that new moon in Libra, of course. So remember, Libra's not being balanced, it's always seeking balance. The Page of Cups is with an open heart, and the Knight of Swords with a message to bring in order to reap rewards. Of the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower, perhaps with visitors, and the Divine Masculine outside, putting the crystal puzzle pieces together. And I was trying to find a certain video and I couldn't find it, but it was Melchizedek and talking about computers and indigo children and how they're so connected with computers because computers are based with quartz crystal. So it's not actually an inanimate object. It's based in crystal, so it's actually very much alive, which is why the indigo children are very connected to the computers. It's like, you know, one with them. But here's the Divine Masculine outside putting the crystal puzzle pieces together, or the quartz crystals. The innocent child and the messenger of truth reaping rewards of labor, or 7 months of pregnancy, right? Which is that time where you always wonder, why does it have to go past 7 months again? Because you're already feeling like this is enough. You're having trouble walking up hills now. And I actually have two nieces who are pregnant right now. So also unsure why you still require 2 more months to cook, right? Why do I still need 2 more months? Why is it not ready yet? The incoming Divine Feminine here is the Lovers, the Moon, the Luna, which is the Moon, the Queen of Swords. The loving relationship between Pisces and Cancer, or Gemini, Queen of Swords, and lovers or twins sliding into home base. The truth trigger, getting a handle in it. All the pieces of self put together, a mosaic work of art. The Page of Cups is upright, like the dolphin or Lemurian energy, playing and jumping out of the water, so filled with love. The lover of the beloved coming off the full moon, working toward the 10/6/2021 new moon in Libra at 13 degrees 24 at 7:05:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Daylight Time, to complete the puzzle or work of art. The Madonna or Mona Lisa, the Maria Sophia, the Mother Mary or Donna coming up, mother and child energy at 4:25, the Emperor and the Knight of Wands, which is very masculine energy. The mother and child, the holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. The 4D here, the star, the abundance, and the 2 of Swords. The Divine Feminine rock star of sound and light, healing and singing, or healing with light and love. Galactic travel and or device, bridging Atlantis with Lemuria, or rockabye baby, or rocking horse. Walking on your back, or like an Egyptian. The stars are out tonight. And this is actually a line from a song I wrote a long time ago for my son when he was a baby. The stars are out tonight. I'll always hold him tight. I'll teach him of the white light. I'll teach him all I know. I'll just turn out the light and say good night. The Divine Masculine knowing and floating, perhaps half exposed on the jetties as opposed to the Serengetis, both with hands full, bridging with abundance the mother load, carrying the weight of the Divine Masculine and happy to do so. Gaia and the sun, the Mother Earth carrying the weight of the sun. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. And sunshine almost always makes me high. The first domino has been tapped with a ripple effect. So it's like the tapping of the start. You know, the first domino has gone. Now there's this slow ripple effect as it goes throughout the collective. The 5D of the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Seven of Swords, the Divine Feminine ignited with a slow, mellow, royal burn, or child inspired by confidence and being a part of something good or grand, or in a rock star family, the Divine Masculine taking a risk to pass downloads and assessed by two men or viewers, or wizard trying to get rid of the evidence, or unknown knowledge, or from the Divine Feminine's heart, or a note to self, but is coming in faster than he can pass it on or get rid of it at 442, which is the Emperor and the Two of Cups. Bridging with the Knight of Swords, the messenger of truth with a message in a bubble, or Cancer and Gemini, or Pisces and Twin or Kin, and two knights equaling 928, watching for news from the Divine Feminine's heart, or in other words, the 5D Tower. The 6D here is the Page of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the Ace of Crystals, or Pentacles. The Divine Feminine curious, or with a Page of Pentacles, student or child, an opportunity or invitation. The Divine Masculine with a breakthrough, or stone-breaking plant, or ball-busting diamond in the rough, an offer of a new life. Bridging with Chariots of Fire, Durga and senses, 5 horsepower, dragging a mobile home, or home with vehicle, causing drag, like the drag of a boat. Manifesting, taking the show on the road, or making a big offer to the Divine Feminine's heart, an offer that she can't refuse, making her too curious about it to say no, or willing to try something new. The 6D here of the Divine Masculine, or the Outgoing Divine Masculine, is the 5 of Wands, the Alchemy, and the Page of Wands. The gift of Indian summer, humidity and alky with pit in stomach, inspired by worship of the flame, but wants control of it. If he unmasks, then he must admit it was his, that he broke her, which is him, and must put Humpty back together again. Since all the king's horses and men couldn't, it's all up to him to crack the codes. The Divine Feminine with healing and dreaming, and the Knight of Wands and Page of Pentacles, sure and curious. The Divine Masculine with floating, never knew he could be so free, floating on air with a wing and a prayer. I forget the words, but who could it be? It's just me. So that's coming up for the masculine. Taking a risk to use his God-given gifts, a groundbreaking event as the diamond shows itself. The rock, the star, the ground and the flyer, the diamond and the light. A little rough on the ground, but really sparkly, like the Lucifer energy, right? All those definitions. Really rough on the ground, but really sparkly in the plasma ethers. And the next generation came up here. So then Gen Q came up here, which you look up Gen Q. It's a TV show, which I'm not familiar with because I don't watch TV. But also in Mandarin, Jin Qian. I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not positive, but it's Genqian with accents. So it's a long E and then an accent over the A. So I think Jinqian, which means in front, nearby, close to, or the time just before, the 11th hour, or living with one, and it was referring to one's children. But also Gen Q comes up as a, it has to do with the LGBTQ community, friends in LA, but the other definitions also came up as gender equality. So it's not necessarily about sexuality as it is about gender equality, because also Gen Q comes up as a score in gender equality regarding salaries and things like that. But, and also the L word, which is funny because when I saw the ashes come up and I saw the L before I saw the shape of the heart, and this is going to come together even more. So they were guiding me to different names because they were getting me to name something. So Gen Q, again, is the score in gender equality with salaries. And then Gen GEQ came up as Equatorial Guinea, which is a West African country. The Guinea Equatoriale, however it's pronounced. But Guinea also means of Italian descent, and also the British gold coin. So of this word or this definition, GEQ, would be someone of Italian descent with British gold coin or Kohan, because coin is another way of spelling Kohan or co-pilots, of the equator, which is the equilibrium. The equator of Italian descent in British gold coin or Kohan, co-pilots, Kohan, the energy of the quantum. The GQ, but with an E inserted, of energy, evolution, Elohim, Eve, change, freedom, and expansion. Not your father's boys club. And then generations was coming up as gene rations, which you know about your genes, but the definition specifically says segment of DNA or RNA from genome. In general, the structure of a protein or locus, LOCUS, which is the center of activity or a scene of a crime, which comes up as that picture of the fire ants, right? The center of the hub of everything that's going on. Or ancient sacred writings also come up here. It's also inconvenience, nuisance, yonder, or that over there, right? To see the scene of the accident. And also the word yine, Y-I-N-E, comes up, which means pin, needle, screw, nail. Again, still, and yet. All right, so the different names here I have. Excuse me. So GEQ was coming up, but then I was looking at the numbers because GEQ, G is 7, E is 5, and Q is 17 in the alphabet. And they're guiding me to, instead of 7517, they wanted me to get to 7117, the direct reflection of 17, the star, and the 71, which is the Three of Pentacles, which for me is the card of co-creation. So in order to get a 1 there, you need the A, because that's the first letter of the alphabet. So we have G, A, and then Q, which is 17, which brings up the 7117. And I'll explain this to you in a minute. So the Genqian, the Genqian, which is a significant word, living with one, or the time just before, the 11th hour, the moment before. And I brought that literal line up the other day. And gender equality here with the Gen Q. So instead of Gen X or Gen Z, it's now Gen Q, which is quantum generation. The 7-1 to the 17, but instead of GENQ, they were bringing me to something different here. So then I looked up Gene Q, GENEQ, which is the center of activity, or the quantum here. And then GAQ, which would be the G7A1 and the Q17, which would bring up that exact 7117. That word jock, G-A-Q, means a part of something that is made of something else, kind of like a mutt. We're all made of what we were before, or nevertheless. And the example they gave was the woman among us, which was perfect, because we're all about raising the feminine energy right now. So where did we stop with the Generation X? Okay. So then we go, again, the equator of Italian descent with British gold coin or Cohan or co-pilots, the energy of the quantum, the GAQ, which the G can represent the Jinkyun, which is the moment just before, the A, and then the Q of quantum, of course. And the A for me in code is the 0 of the source embodiment of the human, and the tail is the connection. So the source connection from this Jianqian to the quantum, or the quanta. So it gets very detailed here. So we have GAQ, and then they were showing the A, and the A is the masculine pyramid, the upside down V with the line across, which for me in codes has also come up as the penis, obviously listing it as a masculine energy, but it was also coming up as the ash, which is the A and the E, which are connected together, which is also the bow. It looks like a bow on top of a gift. And ash in Pleiadian, according to Elena Denon, and it's 1:11 on the clock, means light. So here we have Lucifer and ash, both as light. And also we had this explanation of the fallen angel and the falling star, the shooting star, and the rising star. Again, the phoenix of falling and then rising again. And I remember Janet talking about that all the time. I forget which bird it was that dives and then climbs again. And I know the eagle dives and does dances with their partners. They dive and come back up as they mate. It's very beautiful, actually. It's that same kind of energy that's coming up. Also, since it's GAQ, Jacques and Jacques Cousteau is coming up here. Gene Q being the gene, the locus, the center of activity, or the fire ants picture, that kind of 3D energy. The Gen Q of gender equality, the GEQ of the equator and the Italian descent, the British gold coin or Cohan, co-pilots, the energy of quantum, and then the GAQ we end up at as part of something that is made of something else. In other words, mutts were coming up here, right? Because we're all part of something else. We're all not just of this world. We're mutts of Pleiadian and Sirius and Lyra and Andromeda and Arcturus and all of those other energies. We all have parts of these different things in us. So just before the light or dawn is the quantum leap, an opportunity to escape. And escape comes up as S-cape, or the Sophia cape, right? The Sophia to the rescue as opposed to the masculine to the rescue. The Sophia's cape or scope that collapses and expands as needed, right? You don't need it all the time. It's just coming to the rescue when you need it. And remember the S is half of the 8, right? So if you put 2 S's reflected back to back, it becomes the number 8, the dance between the masculine and the feminine. And remember too, part of my coding of the alphabet, the letter F comes up as not just the feminine, but the feminine includes both the feminine and the masculine, whereas the masculine only includes the masculine. It's very interesting, and that relates to the ability of the feminine to be able to give birth, right? Because she has to be able to hold both the feminine and the masculine. The bridge of abundance of the mother, the Gaia, and the messenger of truth take off with a running start. The mother with the divine masculine on her shoulders, the charioteer with the chariot takes off to the stars with 5 white horses. The 5 white horses were coming up as sensei, right? Sensei? Sensei, B, C, D, E. So sensei, B-city, or sensei, B-side, or B-CD, can be as well. Sense A and B to C with gratitude, or sensei, B side, elder, master, or teacher who sits, or perhaps a model who sits as an example and has paid their dues. A model home with no need to roam. The elder that travels within. The move, it's like the move of the karate master that they have made before even having moved a muscle, right? So everything has all the energies happened before they've even moved a muscle. It's that energy, the moment before. This is what's coming up as the five white horses of the chariot. The sensei, right? So the karate master, the teacher, the sensei, B, C, D, E are the 5 senses, which is the sensei B-city, which means to sit or be beside. Sense A and B to see the gratitude, or sense A and B side or B-city, the master, elder, or teacher who sits, or perhaps being a model, right? As an example, who sits as an example, they've already paid their dues. The model home with no need to roam, the elder that travels within. The move the karate master has made before even moving a muscle. The divine feminine of the Gemini, Cancer, and Aquarius, with the Page of Cups, Queen of Swords, Knight of Wands, Page of Pentacles, and the twins. The divine masculine with Saggy on his side, and the Page of Wands, and the divine feminine's heart. Between them, Taurus, Cancer, and the messenger of truth between. All the Page of Cups and the Knight of Swords, love and light in the divine feminine's heart. The divine masculine just has to figure that out. The all is the Page of Cups, the innocence, and the Knight of Swords, the messenger of truth, which is coming up as love and light in the divine feminine's heart. The divine masculine just has to figure that out. It's all right there in her heart. The love, L-O-V, and the loon, L-U-N, the sage of thoughts and words, of blind men and orphans. The 5 of change and freedom, of fluidity or fluids. The alky or alchemy of the seeker of flames, who's inspired. The 7 of crystals, of the divine feminine's heart. The Eve within the SN, which is the 7, or the divine feminine within the masculine, of purging or being Christ-like, or like Christ, always with something cooking up and boiling over. The epiphany, in other words, at the 5D tower of the divine feminine. The overall number here is the 22, the Fool's Journey, with a whole lot of zeros here. We had 5 zeros in a row at 555, which is the 555, which is 15 of the devil or shadow side. A whole lot of change, right? It's kind of like a shit fest, right? Because we have the 5 of change, then the 5 becomes the 1 of a new beginning, but the 555 then is, kind of overkill when it comes to excitement and change. So we have the 22 of the Fool's Journey with open heart taking a leap of faith, and the horizontal pillars came up as 8, 7, and 7, which is the dance of strength, and between the masculine and feminine, the manifestation of dreams, and the 2 7s are 2 chariots, but also the 7 7 of the sovereign dance, the dance of 2 7s, or 7s 2. Dancing chariots, the 22, the Fool's Journey. And then the other direction were like 5 zeros, then the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 5 of the Hierophant, and the 7, another 0, and then the 7 of the Chariot. So 5 zeros destined or high vibration, and the number was coming up as 2 different zip code type numbers, 10507 and 50722, emotionally charged or fueled the chariot on the Fool's Journey. So again, the dance of the 2 7s, or the sovereigns, or 7s and 2 of them, dancing chariots, the 22 of the Fool's Journey, with a lot of source energy backing it up, destined or in high vibration of the 10507 or 50722, emotionally fueled the feminine within the masculine, the chariot on the Fool's Journey of ascension here. So I looked up 10507 to see if it was a zip code, and it came up right away as an area that's extremely high priced compared to the rest of the country, which was Bedford Hills, New York. And then a gene result came up for 10507 from the government, ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. The result was called SEMA4D, which is SEMA 4D. SEMA 4D. How crazy is that? And it's also listed under human or Homo sapiens. August 9th, 2021, which is August 9th is my parents' anniversary, and the gene ID is 10507, and semaphore and 4D is the actual gene there. The ensemble was ENSG with 5 zeros. So again, the 5 zeros from my numbers for the read came up. And then 187764, which there's the sovereign again with the moon, which Luna came up, and the 64, which is the 10 of swords. And then MIM, M-I-M, was 601866. And that's the finding peace under the moon with the Queen of Pentacles. So it's otherwise known as A as an apple and 8. So here we were just talking about the letter A and the 8. It's also GR3, BB 18, CD 100, COLL 4, SEMA J, COLL-4, and then another one, ORF 164. I think C9 is in front of that. And then M SEMA-G, M-SEMA-G. The expression is a broad expression in the lymph node, RPKM 12.0, and appendix RPKM 8.6, for any of you who know what all that stuff means. And there are 22 other issues there. And there's the 22 of the Fool's Journey, which we just was the number overall for the read. The genomic sequence was NC, which comes up as North Carolina. Again, 5 zeros with 9.12, the Hermit and the Wise Man, seeing a new perspective. The chromosome 9 as reference, and the REF coming up from Lucifer reversed of GRCH38, which is the Queen of Cups, and the P13, which 13 is the transition or going through the portal, the dark night, the death, the end, and the primary assembly there. When I looked up 50722, I only got CPT code for the repair procedures on the ureter. So I know if some of you are dealing with ureter. Also piston ring sets. And the gene result came up for that was DKKL1, which came up as DICKOPF, DICKKOPF, like 1. And it was from a house mouse. And it was called Sagi, 9/25/2020. A14144, so there's 144,000 in there, plus the 14 of the higher love and the 9 of the Hermit, the 5 of the Hierophant. NC underscore triple 4 zeros here with the mouse, and 73.7. 73 is the 5 of Pentacles, which is those left out in the cold, and the 7 of the Chariot. So the lovers out in the cold who only need each other in the Chariot, the feminine within the masculine ascending. So then I was looking at the heart, because remember when the embers came up and I saw the L and then the heart. And if you draw an L and the number 3, it is a heart. Or it can also be Ev, my name. If you draw an E and then a V, it becomes a heart. In different positions, they're kind of twisted around. Or it's literally, when you draw the heart straight up and down, it's the M over the V, which is Mary's womb. The L of the divine masculine was coming up as greater than, or the feminine. The masculine is seeing themselves as greater than the divine feminine, or greater than the key. But it was coming up like the rolling stone. I always tell you the rolling stone is the box letter E, which becomes the M, which becomes the 3, which becomes the W, if you roll it like the rolling stone. And here the V was doing that. So the V upright, if you turn it, becomes the L, or the less than symbol, and then becomes the upside down V, or the pyramid, and then becomes the backward L, or the key. For me, that can be a key, but also is the greater than symbol. So again, the rolling stone was coming up here for that. And then they showed me to put the rolling stone of the EM3W in the V of the womb. And it was showing me the stages of a child being born. So if literally you put the W in the V, it's like a baby's butt. And then when you put the E on either side of the V, it looks like an F, really, or an E that's kind of contorted. But it's representing the different ovaries ovulating into the uterus. And then the final one of the M on top of the V is the heart. So when the baby has the heartbeat. So it's showing me the different stages of the water. And then the baby's butt is when the water breaks. So it's very cool. So here's the drawings I was doing. I don't know if you could see them very well, but yeah. Okay, so here you see putting the EM3W in the V's, and you see the baby's butt here, and these are like representing the different ovaries coming into the uterus. And then this is the M on the V, which is the heart, when the heart starts beating. And again, representing what I just showed you here. So again, those are some of the drawings I was doing of the hearts. All right, so then we get to the twin flame read in front of you. I'm going to turn the light on for that. Sorry, it's fuzzy right now. So, and this went into another visual representation, so I'm going to get to that as well. I cut this Syrian Starseed deck at 636, the 6 of the lovers, the 36 of the Atlas energy, the weight of the world, for today again, which is that energy of the 40. Excuse me, I just need to grab my water here. The Page of Cups and the Page of Cups and the Ace of Wands. Okay. So the lovers and the Atlas energy for this twin flame read in front of you on the table. Let me pull this over again so you can see a little bit better over here. I finished clarifying all the cards at 656. 656. Yes, there's a lot of sixes coming up here. The 6 of the lovers, 56 is the 2 of swords, being your knowing and keeping your energy clear, which definitely was a challenge for me today. I had a little bit of a purge last night. After dealing with so many people all week, I had people staying at the house, different ones, changing rooms, and then going to a wedding, and then the service last weekend, so it was a lot this week. And then we had the indigo. The indigo is the only major arcana in this read, in the main part. Before the read, the higher self and the Luna or moon came up, and after the read, karma and guidance came up. Karma is the judgment card and guidance is the Hierophant. We had 2 wands, 4 swords, 2 pentacles, 2 cups, so a lot of swords here, but otherwise pretty well balanced. But a lot of swords can be either being too much in your head or intellectualizing. We have the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Swords within the read, and the 9 of Wands, the Wounded Warrior. And before the read was the 9 of Pentacles or Sovereign. Excuse me. And then the Page of Swords is the message, was also coming up before the read. The numbers we had: double 2s, double 5s, double 7s, double 9s, and double 10s. The 22 of the Fool, 55 of the Ace of Swords, the Truth, 77 of the Sovereign, 99 of a lot of compassion endings, universal selflessness, the collective consciousness, and then 1010, which is a reminder to keep that energy really high, and the trill of the 1010, which is also a computer code, which also came up for the indigos today. The message of the day there on the line was adventure, all about adventure, love, partnership. So adventure and love, partnership, but it was all broken up into adv, enter, love, and then parten, and then ship. So that'll come up in a second. The code line was all about 55, which is also the number 10, which is the Excalibur, the Truth, and the Wheel of Fortune. We also had numbers of, besides 22, 55, 77, 99, and 1010, we have the 910, Begin Again, the 25 of the Knight of Wands, the 57 of the 3 of Swords, the 79 of the Pot of Gold at the end of the Rainbow, the 23 of the King of Wands, the 45 of the 5 of Cups, the 56 of the 2 of Swords, the 67 of the Knight of Pentacles. So a lot of numbers here, a lot of energy, a lot of 2s. And then the code line about adventure and love, partnership, and the 55 of the Truth, and the 10 of a turn for the better, and the Wheel of Fortune. Here were the messages there. To the nth degree, the Christos Sophia, and the 9-inch nails representing Jesus on the cross, and the sap, the essence of life, the flock of the Excalibur, the life essence of JC regarding adventure and love, partnership. The table header, see at the, it's like seeing Jesus at the head of the table. Also normal saline was coming up, right? Because so the water in us isn't just water, it's saline. The grandmother and the man, the contents of the man, and the sap or the essence of life, or Xmas coming up. So Christmas, but also Xmas. The 5, the change, the freedom and expansion, the Hierophant, and the war, which war came up today as well within. There was a little wheel that my son had made when he was little, and I left it on his bed for when he came to visit. That you can turn the wheel and get different messages like we used to do when we were kids, those kind of things. And one of them had said something about war, because he used to say war when he was little. There was a lot of war energy that came up from him from other lives. But so war's coming up again here regarding freedom, change, expansion, the Hierophant, which is commitment, contracts, religion, the establishment, the war within, the sap of the essence of life, the Jesus Christ, the divine feminine toggling up within the masculine, which is that unity consciousness coming up. The Ensure VEER ship was coming up as the Christ, the Wild Goats Tour. So Glastonbury Tour was coming up. The Tower of Luck and the full name, right? Jesus Christ of Nazareth was coming up. And then the law. So as I was looking up the different definitions of these little words within this message, it was coming up as Christ's law, or all. The law of all and everything. The holy place of offering, or in other words, the now moment. The mercy ship. To the nth degree, the nanosecond, like the split second that takes the show of power of Christ, the unity consciousness. The Christos Sophia, the 9-inch nails of Christ on the cross with Sophia, with the Mary Magdalene. The Sophia's Eve Mass. The freedom from the war within. The life essence. The sap of the divine feminine within the divine masculine. She is the essence of his life. The advert came up here as well. To take notice without the root or destination. Christ's law, or journey of the wild goat, or the Capricorn. The low holy place of offering, or low contractions, or dealing with the devil. To flirt with part in or partnership in the mercy ship, or urgent shipping, or spaceship, perhaps. And then the Y in the road was coming up as the Y chromosome. And the Y is the Y in the road. As opposed to making a choice, you go up and ascend instead of making a choice in one direction. It's staying in the now moment, present in your heart, in the divine masculine, which is the XY, missing the other leg of the X, of the XX, of the feminine, which, remember, when you have XX, you put an M on top and a W on the bottom, you have the two dancing 8s next to each other, plus the X and the Y of the masculine. So the XY is the Y missing the other leg of the X, which is like the slash, the backslash, or the comma even, like the space between. He's missing the space between. She can carry the XX and XY, because X has Y in it, but he can't carry either, right? Because it's the feminine who carries the child. She has to be able to carry the masculine and feminine both within her. And then the word SNIN came up, which means year, army, the eagle, hawk, and falcon, the number 6, or the lovers, the shadow, the silhouette, the shade, the ghost, hatching, tendon, and the sinew, SINEW, which is the representative of the sine wave. To the nth degree, the Christ shadow, which is the Sophia, the eagle, the hawk, the falcon, the lover, the sine wave, the tendon that holds things together, the sap mass, right? The essence of life mass, not necessarily the Christ mass, right? Which sap would represent the S of the Sophia, and the app of the indigo, and the computer coming up there. And instead of the flock of seagulls, it was coming up as the flock of eagles. The whole truth of the blind men and orphans is the life essence of the hint of the divine feminine within the divine masculine, pulling him up and making him a better man. So then they were guiding me back to my crazy 8s. And this was crazy here. So I have to explain this to you. And I'll show you the pictures in a minute so you get more of a visual of it. And I brought this up before. Before I start this, there was a Melchizedek video I saw before. I'm trying to think of his first name. Sonval Melchizedek. You can look him up on YouTube. You should be able to find him. But he was teaching a classroom lesson, and he was talking about the energy lines within the head, right? From the pineal, that go through the pineal and pituitary glands, right? So you have the third eye that goes straight from front of the head to the back of the head. And then you have the unicorn, which goes from the forehead, out the bottom, the back of the head. And then the crown, which goes down more towards the throat chakra energy. But there's not just those 3 energy lines, there's another plane right through the ears from temple to temple. So it's just because you see it as 6 pieces of the flower of life doesn't mean that's all there is to it. There's another dimension going through the flower in another direction. So you just don't see it from that perspective. So that was important to say, because some people may ask why is the flower of life 6 petals as to 8? Because there's some things that come up in 8 pieces as opposed to 6. And of course, we're talking about with the twins, the 2 8s dancing side by side, which is very interesting the way this comes together here. So as you know, for me, my alphabet code that I've been taught over the past 4 years is the 0 is the human embodiment of source. And of course, when you put a line down the middle of that 0, it is the symbol for pi, which for me comes up as the balanced human, but not dancing yet, right? They are balanced though. That's that simple 3D balanced human energy. And then when you have the line that goes outside the lines of the 0, that becomes the phi energy of expansion. So when you have 2 balanced humans, or the 2 pies, the 0 with the line down the middle, it's just representing that they're balanced. When they both get balanced and they meet their twin, it's the resonation of the balance that activates the twins when they meet. They get activated from the 2, I'm going to try to show you the best I can. So they get activated from these 2 being human balanced together. See how it becomes the 8 when they meet. And then they start doing the dance of the 8, right? In order to start learning how to balance their masculine and feminine. So dancing between their masculine and feminine within the horizontal 8, which is, right, because your left is the feminine, the right is the masculine, dancing side to side between your own masculine and feminine, but also you're learning to dance up and down between your 3D lower chakra system and your 5D upper chakra system. So you have an 8 upright and an 8 across. So then we have once you've connected and you start activating and merging in the 5D, up in 5D, you have that infinity symbol above you, which is connected. So that's when you become merged with your counterpart in the etheric realms, but not in the physical realm. This is where you're learning to do your own balancing act between the horizontal masculine and feminine and the vertical pillar of the 3D and 5D dance to learn to come together, because you need to learn to polarize and then become the one infinity between the 2 of you. And then I was getting that energy again of the Melchizedek healer showing me the energy lines of the head. That there's not just the 6 pieces of the 3 lines through the head, but there's 2 more pieces that go through the temples, the 2 sides on either side of the pineal gland. So the balanced human with the line down the middle, like the pi symbol, when they meet their twin, it's like a tail comes out one side of the circle, right? To connect, like the A is a circle with connection. So they're learning to go outside themselves because they've met their twin. They resonate, so they try to reach out, but they break when they're not seeing eye to eye or eye to ego, perhaps, right? So here's just this symbolically where they try to see eye to eye, but they're not. Okay, so this is like the human balanced, and then there's their third eye and their third eye, and they're not seeing eye to eye, so they bounce off of each other. So they go away and learn to tango from the lap dance of the 3D, which is the 2 4s, like chairs stacked on top of each other. If you stack 2 4s on top of each other, or chairs, it becomes the letter H, which is the 3D reference to the number 8 in the 5D, the upright dance of the do-si-do. Learning right to left, or masculine and feminine, and then left to right. And when you go home to rest, you practice up and down on your own from 3D to 5D, heaven sent. They keep bouncing until they both expand enough, both horizontally and vertically, right? So now you have the cross through the circle, up and down, forward and back, becoming 2 circles with 2 crosses and expanding outside the lines, fully side to side and up and down, in order to connect in full quantum leap and eye to eye, face to face. So when I drew an example of the quantum leap before, let's say you had like when you rack up the balls on a pool table, it's the same kind of energy of the modem of the for an example, a soul group. So just let's say you have 6 in like a rack, like a pool rack, a pool cue rack. And the top one is the twin flame energy. The next two balls underneath that are the very close soulmates, and then three below that are a lower vibration soulmate, but they're still very high. But it's just saying, in order to, you go through patterns by going around circles, and then you can go to the next circle next to you in order to experience a different pattern, but then you end up keep circling the same thing anyway. Or you can find a moment where you can actually quantum leap across circles. So you don't have to actually go around the whole circle. You can just quantum leap from center to center if you learn how to be in that present moment and manifest from the present moment. So it's that same energy of the circle with the dot in the middle, right? That's the place where you can leap from. So that you finally become side to side, up and down, in order to connect in full quantum leap, eye to eye and face to face with your twin. So that when you meet again, you now have two crazy eights, right? Because you're both now trying to see eye to eye here. You're both dancing within your own masculine and feminine. You become side to side, trying to connect your third eyes and your sacral, which would be then sacred union. So you notice when you put two eights together, the two crazy eights, which I really never noticed before, which I probably have before, but I forget, is actually two hearts as one. They're just two hearts become two eights next to each other. It's exactly the same thing. So two crazy eights being the dot in the middle, the top circles is the third eye, the bottom two circles would be the sacral energies of the sexual parts. Third eye to third eye, but also before the sexual reunion, this represents them holding hands, right? They're looking eye to eye and holding hands right here. And you also notice there's the diamond in the middle, which represents the heart and the diamond light. So again, once you get that connection, eye to eye and sacral to sacral and sacred union, and being anxious to wrap things up, sacral to sacral and third eye to third eye, holding hands. So remember the rolling stone of the EM3W, which becomes, when you put the EM3W together, it becomes a gift. A gift when the puzzle pieces are all together with ash, or the AE, attached, which means light, on top when sparks fly. So here is that gift of the rolling stone. All of these letters, when they come together, becomes the gift with the symbol of ash on top, which is like the icing on top, the icing on the cake. So when you have the gift and you put a circle in each box of the gift, right? It's literally the energy of cross my heart and hope to die. When you're all boxed up and ready to roll, the gift of the moment with icing on top, which is that energy of having your cake and eating it too, the cube of 4. So this gift is literally 4 different spheres times 2, right? So remember it's 3-dimensional, so it's actually a square on all sides. So from all sides, like a die with 4s on all sides of it, there's 4 spheres you can see on each side of the dice or the gift. So you see the 8 balls from all directions of infinity, seeing 4 on each of 6 sides, which equals 24, which represents the chromosomes, right? It's 144 on the clock, which represents the chromosomes, 23 plus the 1 invisible. The balls or chromosomes, or 8 balls in 3 planes of existence, which 3 times 8 is 24. And then they were showing me the relationship to twins and twin flames. So like here, they're showing me identical twins, but over here, when they overlap, is the conjoined twins, because they don't only share the etheric body like an identical twin would, but here the conjoined twins, they share the etheric body, but also share physical body, right? But with twin flames, you have the ability of being able to do both of these things, but not permanently. So you are conjoined when you physically come together in sexual union, but you can also pull apart again. So you can be like the identical twins, but you can be like the conjoined twins as well. So the twin flame, when having sex, becomes intertwined as one physical being. but because it's not a permanent state for the twin flames, you can pull apart again. So you're not only connected north to south and east to west, but also connected in the X marks the spot, the diamond light, the crazy 8 dance of the 2 ones, like if you have 2 people dancing represented by the 11, the 1 and the 1, like a human, and you tilt them an eighth of the way as opposed to a quarter, because then you just become a flat line. When you tilt each line an eighth towards each other, it becomes the X, which is also the diamond light on top of the holy cross, which then becomes the starlight, because then you get the 8. All right, so here is the box of being conjoined, and you see all the different lines and directions that happens within this. Okay, so you have the 2 1 1 of the 11, which they tilt an eighth of a degree each, becomes the X, which then becomes the diamond light. When you turn the square on its side an eighth, it becomes the diamond as opposed to the square, and the diamond light of the crazy 8 dance. Okay, so here's the X coming into it on top of the holy cross, right? So we have the cross plus the X equals 8 pieces, which is coming up as starlight, or the kite, right? The diamond, the kite now flies with diamond light. So it's a bit complicated too. The other energy that was coming up in the diagram is the connection of the sacral energies of the masculine and feminine and their third eyes is like the spokes of the wheel. So you get another 8 around the inner spokes here, just like your bicycle would have. You know, the chains that go around your spokes. It's very interesting. So then we get into this twin flame read in front of you with the 9 of Wands being the underlying energy, the wounded warrior at 907. Sorry, it's a long read, but just a lot was coming up. The 9 of the Hermit, the 7 of the Chariot, and beneath the 9 of Wands was the 3 of Pentacles reversed, the 9 of Pentacles reversed, the Page of Swords reversed, the Higher Self reversed, and Luna, which is the Moon upright. With issues at work, with powerlessness or dependency or loss of power, money, and independence, negative self-talk or rumors without the little light, immature conversation and not using intuition, or secret passion at night, or romance with wounded warrior frustrated, uninspired by injustice, or it's not fair. The death, dark night through separation and detox of chaos and heartbreak, with Pisces reversed, Cancer upright, Libra reversed, Scorpio upright, and Capricorn reversed. Secret passion with or for committed, and detoxing with offer of help from those left behind, falling short or have been played in separation or heartbreak, knowing and keeping to self, satisfied with the Empress in lack or without them, with Pisces reversed, Taurus both upright and reversed, and then Capricorn and Sag both reversed, with a blanket of moss or moths. So maybe you had some issues in your closet with moss and your coats getting destroyed. But both moss, and moss is, there's a lot of health energies around moss as well. But moss and moths from 99 bottles of beer on the wall, and the Empress reversed in lack or ill. The Wizard, and this could be someone who's passed as well. The Wizard on break or retired in sandals with no tie, with perhaps with antiques. Someone's into antiques, but it's like they're just sitting there hanging around on their antiques that they purchased and gaining weight, that type of energy. Perhaps gaining weight, or in France eating too much cake, having your cake and eating it too, while the Empress reverse is in lack or ill, both eating their feelings. So the wound about eating your feelings is coming up big time in gaining weight. Or wet blanket, so to speak. Miscarriage or miscarriage of justice can also come up. Getting over it, with the Empress reversed and the Magician reversed, letting go to repair, both lacking confidence as the flowers start to die. I was just getting flowers for Algernon again. As the flowers start to die in the fall, and the grass turns yellow, and the DNA dies or goes south, one with strand, one with microphone or ice cream scoop, one with infinity, and one with crown, and 4 gold coins or co-hands, co-pilots. The crown, the heart, and 2 feet. We're also coming up here. By the way, I watched Starling last night, the movie, which was very good. But if you're going to purge, there's going to be stuff coming up regarding the movie. It was really good. These starlings. Starlings, by the way, they do everything together with the babies in the nest. It's not just the mother bird or father bird, but they both do everything together. And they're very vicious when they come to protecting their nests. It's very funny in that way, but very intense movie, but very good. So religious factors comes up here, and beneath that, finances and career. The Two of Wands upright, the Chariot upright here, with the Knight of Swords reversed, the Ace of Cups, and Judgment card came up. So perhaps somebody's out to eat or face-to-face in a two-bull split, or vet who got screwed, which is funny because the veterinarian comes up in the movie, Starling. Holding tongue. And you notice the movie The Starling came up, and we just went over the falling star, the shooting star, and the rising star. So it's very significant. So the vet got screwed, so veterinarian. That can also be a vet as in a soldier. Holding tongue to receive the big love, hoping for mercy or child or Cupid's forgiveness. The warrior down, the silver cup up, a decision made or wake up call or announcement. No more doggy style or being a dog, now making love, tied up in knots in a bind, with Hatari and Safari coming up, unable to keep kids from seeing true love announcement. Nature comes up, which is 74, that perfect balance, and the 41 of the Ace of Cups, of new love, self-love, spiritual love, and self-discipline, being the disciple of, discipline is disciple of self. With the Trumpeter's release of new passion and energetic exchange, or arrows of love, romance and keeping cards close to the chest, in need of hope and healing. Wine and fleur-de-lis, and the man in the moon, or perhaps the dog, or even the dog, I didn't mean to say dog, or the boy or the girl in the moon, or the dog in the moon, but the dogs are howling here, perhaps crabby with lobster claws out, as time is running out and Dorothy is lost, feeling the need for a rest, or the dogs, or to rest your dogs, or in other words your feet. Feeling the need to rest your dogs, or the dogs howling need to give it a rest. At 9:36, again, the Hermit and the Atlas energy, the weight of the world. Depressed wounded warrior with the Empress reversed in lack, letting go to be judged, allowing nature to take its course, being natural. The Queen of Cups is reversed, perhaps just feeling drained or sad emotionally, finding balance. And again, within Libra, you're always seeking balance. It's not that you're naturally balanced, you're always seeking balance. The underlying energy is the Three of Swords, death, and the Page of Cups reversed, with separation, heartbreak, and death transition, and rejection, vulnerability, and Scorpio here. We have a bold move in rejection, or to be vulnerable and come together in judgment that may be unfair, in a twist of fate, grounding, integrating, Queen of Wands upright, and Knight of Swords reversed, at rest or taking a break at 9:41, which is the Hermit and the Ace of Cups. In the recent past is the Five of Cups reversed, recovering from loss with issues at work, post-war. The King of Cups is upright, moving to peace with the Divine Feminine. Pisces is upright with the world or neighborhood and split, but the worst is now over, with sunshine and exposure, and offer of a new life. The wounded warrior moving or visiting in the fall, or divorce or divorcee, and falling on face or from grace because of lacking of faith. The foundation of the Queen of Pentacles reversed, ungrounded or with no grounds. The wounded warrior standing up to others in a heated exchange. The Hermit shedding light on the affection with star or starling or dreams or dream girl, with Virgo, Gemini, and Aquarius all upright here. But the Gemini and Virgo nearby are also reversed in underlying energies. Or the wounded warriors fighting the Queen of Pentacles reversed, while the Hermit holds the light. The central energy is the Indigo reversed, exposing bliss with no offer of marriage, or married, committed, dealing with religion or establishment, or Taurus offered the Ace of Wands passion from the Chariot or Cancer, exposing all, sharing sun and fun with the kids or hanging out, and challenged by the Five of Swords reversed, the post-war energies of PTSD and looting, or growth spurt that is done, moving to peace with the Page of Pentacles reversed, who may be in need of help, money, or opportunity, or missed opportunity, and being offered big love. The twin flames seeing themselves as grounding, integrating, or choosing a path. The Knight of Wands reversed falling short, or the player of wisdom, or just the player hanging out, or hung out to dry. The offer of a new life, or time, money, and effort to implement a plan or invest in something. To stand up to unwanted advances with the Queen of Cups reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed, in conflict or them playing games, or no surprise here, the lover's romance of out in the cold without big love at work, or if so, it's only third-party big love through work offered by passion or project from the fallen angel, or one who's losing patience, or Sagittarius reversed sharing or settling out now that the worst is over at 9:55, the Hermit, and the truth of Excalibur, the Ace of Swords. So now, crowning is the Ten of Swords reversed, which is not only the worst over, but the bliss state as well. The Ten of Cups upright, the Three of Wands upright, emotionally fulfilled and present, emotionally gifted perhaps. The Knight of Pentacles and the Two of Cups upright, with the Knight of Pentacles impatient to go back for a connection who may be depressed. Or Aquarius and Sag, both reversed here, with the Queen of Wands after sudden events, epiphanies, or a sexual exchange. Or Scorpio reversed, with the worst over, that the fantasy is over, with the King of Swords reversed, because he's not in a good place. That's negative talk, or he could be verbally abusive, or just not talking at all. And the King of Wands reversed, not working out, and dependent, spending here, way too much, trying to tame the beast or the dog, unstable or moving or visiting. The King of Swords reversed, the fallen angel, or impatient and dropping the ball. The Magician insecure, or without the tools to manifest what they need, and exposing the end to the fantasy or the fantasy family, dropping the facade or breaking patterns. The end to the pain of the two lovers. Oh, the end of the Red Hot Lovers is just coming up. By the way, that was filmed in my neighborhood when I was growing up. The last of the Red Hot Lovers. It's a very old movie. So the end of the pain of the two lovers and karmic sex in the chair, knowing and keeping to self, falling for the Page of Cups, message of love, under the radar, with the Knight of Cups reversed, rejection or schmoozer, leveling up to the Knight of Pentacles instead. The fallen angel offering sex and settling out to end pain. And soon here is the Ten of Pentacles reversed, the family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss, or offering love to carry the burden in karmic return of the howling at the moon and shadow work. The Page of Pentacles reversed with a lost opportunity to come together, and the Page of Swords reversed, dumping emotional attachments, or two acting like children and don't believe in dreams, only a social life, released from prison post-war to complete the cycle and come full circle now. Or those pages, the Page of Pentacles and Page of Swords, both reversed, coming together in a reunion to dump emotional attachments with each other, to release and end the cycle. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Seven of Wands upright, standing up for themselves, or defending themselves perhaps, in 5D connection, in pursuit of happiness. With the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, dysfunction or loss, or falling out, a negative childhood, or difficult children. And the King of Pentacles reversed may be arrogant in a connection with the High Priestess reversed, or secret passion. With unrequited love, release your ex, romantic feelings, and then chemistry and true love. That this is a romance of a lifetime. Around the twins, or how they're seen, is the King of Swords reversed, with uncomfortable energies, or they're uncomfortable with their feelings or expressing them. With the Emperor reversed, out of control, or perhaps not doing well. They could be either abusing their power or losing their power, stepping down. And the Queen of Swords upright, speaking her truth to the Queen of Pentacles reversed, which maybe he's not so happy about, and he can't control what she says or does to the other. The block here being the Seven of Cups reversed, and stepping down or repeating steps. An announcement or wake-up call to verbal abuse, or withholding mail, or deleting another's messages before they're able to read them. Adventure, love, partnership, but even more so here between the masculine and feminine is communication. With the Hierophant here, this is going to be a narcissistic Hierophant energy. And the King of Wands reversed, which can be that narcissistic Hierophant energy. So somebody perhaps with fire in their chart, but also has Taurus in their chart, or being that narcissistic Hierophant. with no affection or not showing affection, knowing and floating or comfortably numb, implementing dumping their ex or karmic attachment to sex or projects with fallen angel, or losing patience while sharing bliss or settling, and now the worst is over. Coming clean about destitution, illnesses and injuries, and or suffering in silence or sister or stress, on autopilot and blissfully unaware, which would mean that you're not knowing on purpose. At 10:15, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and the devil or the shadow work at 2 o'clock on the dot, with a lot of source energy backing up the 2 of the High Priestess, which is also your psychic abilities or secrets. At 10:16, the Wheel of Fortune in the Tower, the King of Pentacles, which we also have here, the Knight of Cups reversed, offering help to release them from their prison, the Queen of Cups reversed, the karma of guidance or the Hierophant, Aquarius, Taurus moving or blocking the union with the twin flames and blocking their peace. The Wounded Warrior, Queen of Pentacles reversed, standing up to the King of Swords reversed, to recover from loss and regret of no offer, and challenged by post-war, Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, and stepping down or repeating steps now that the worst is over, or experiencing bliss and comfortably numb, with karmic guidance, instability, and choosing the path of peace. Issues at work with powerlessness or with dependent or dependent spending. On the Page of Swords reversed, negative talk or immature talk with no intuition, subconscious howling, or secret passionate night for Cancer. Or that can be subconscious energies as well, doing shadow work. The Wounded Warrior recovering from loss, regret, or depression, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed without an offer, or with Indigo reversed, but the worst is now over, and challenged by PTSD and looting. Standing up for the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, dysfunction or loss. The King of Swords reversed may be looping, again, about those circles I described. Instead of going to a different circle or leaping, they're just looping around and around and around. And that can be feeling loopy as well, like I did at the wedding because I hadn't slept at all. And again, being comfortably numb. With karmic moving and twin flames at peace at 10:25, which can represent the 8th dance as well, with the 1 and 2-5. The 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 25 of the Knight of Wands. And the Starling, by the way, the movie The Starling was 1 hour and 44 minutes. So there's that 144 again. So this is going really long today. It's 2:02, so I am going to pull a quick couple cards to wrap this up at 147:27, which is the 27 of the Ace of Wands, again, the 1 of the Magician, the 47 of the Synchronicities and the Heaven in their eyes, the choices and options that can be confusing. At the 2:02 that turned to 2:03, which is Thy Priestess and Judgment, or the Empress. And here we have from the Animal Spirit deck, Dear One, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And remember that you are both the student and the teacher. And we have Delaware coming up here, and Decobra. I was getting decode also. Decode the bra, the corset. I don't know why I'm getting 2 of a kind here. You notice when they come together too, right? Because you have the lower chakra energies and the upper chakra energies here. At least the lower 3 energies and the mid 3 energies here. We don't have like the purples and the whites up top. And then we have, there's that fire ant picture I was telling you about, right? Where this is that bad accident or the fight that everyone comes to see. They can't not watch it. Or the beauty that everyone wants a piece of, and it becomes a war because everyone's trying to take a piece of them. So it's the energy of finding peace. When the student is ready, the teacher comes. When there's chaos that needs their help, that's when you're called on, Dear One. And the cobra also can represent the kundalini that has risen over the crown. And then we have these 2 guys coming up, which again, the hawk is the same energy as the eagle family. And just as they fly, they clear the way. And then so does the little otter who's so innocent and sweet. It's like the Page of Cups energy, where they're always perfectly balanced because they're so sweet and pure and innocent. It's like the 2-year-old in a diaper. I love that card. So there's 2 ways of clearing here, right? This is the mature one who's able to just fly through and clear the negative energies. And then there's the innocent one who just stays in that bubble of perfectly balanced energy. So it's like the teacher and the student. The innocent ones naturally protect themselves because they have that high vibe love in them. That the older one perhaps has to work harder at it. They're walking transmuters, right? Learning to stay spiritually balanced in their heart and in the present moment. And then, of course, we have, oh, this is perfect. Look, then all the wise ones come forward. Look at that. Right? The crow who's standing guard of the collective awakening, displacing all this dark energy that's splattering out everywhere. There's the turned on, plugged in stingray, right? Plugged in with all their chakra system tuned up. Awakening, right? This is them awakening. And there's the cleanup crew, right? For when these things need to happen. And there's this, the starlings coming up, right? Who comes in and attacks like the vulture. Anyone who comes near them. But here the vulture has its place. And there's the wise one of the owls. So look at all the birds here. And then we have these 2 guys coming out too. In a sense too, right? So the wolf pack leader is no longer telling the pack what to do. They're allowing them to make their own choices. And there's the dolphin to help them with compassion and friendly energies here. Very Lemurian energy from the dolphin coming up here. Right? They're helping keep everybody balanced over here. It's like on the periphery, helping to keep the balance of the pack, of the earth, of the collective awakening. Whereas like these are the frontline guys and these are on the sides, keeping the energies balanced. Very interesting. All right. The bottom of the deck is the starfish. Again, that's that superficial energy. But again, about the star, the falling star, the shooting star, the rising star, and the starling bird who attacks when you try to get near their nest. And the octopus who needs to create boundaries, which the star does, right? Because they deal with a lot of people who want something from them. Again, that's that energy of the ants where the star is in the middle. Everybody wants a piece of it. And it becomes very chaotic and 3-dimensional energy here. And they need to create boundaries, right? And there's that elk, right, with the antlers it's a hothead. When they're not fed right, they get really egotistical. And the eagle landing on that, right, could be very painful. Or if the bee stings, that would piss them off. So anyway, there needs to be boundaries here when this one's cranky and when this one's, around a lot of people because everybody wants a piece of them. It's that underlying energy. Dear one, when the teacher or the student is ready, the teacher will come. And there is great need when there's a lot of people in one place, like weddings and celebrations and things like that. There's someone needs to be there to keep the balance. Again, the mature energies of the teachers clearing the way, and those young, pure, dear one energies who just naturally keep that balanced energy very pure and simple and light, and help, the little kids around. They always keep the energy really clear. So let's see what the journey of love has for us. So again, there's a lot of wise elders, right? You're the ancient ones, standing guard for those awakening to help them clear their energies, along with the little ones, the pure ones. And then from the journey of love, what needs to come up today? Close out our energies here. Journey of love. What do we need to do? The dance of the planets, the 56, is that, and this is that energy for me of Linda and Paul McCartney walking on their record, right? They're walking through the cyclone into the vortex. They can handle anything when they're holding hands here. The dance of the planets, the 56, is the Two of Swords, being in your knowing and keeping your energy clear, right? Always being present in the moment, keeping things clear. When you're around a lot of people, don't forget to clear your energy. And then we have self-initiation, which is what I just said, When you're going to be around a lot of people, make sure you clear your energy. And when you're 2 as 1, it makes it even easier when you're holding hands, right? Because your energy really ramps up there to clear the way. See, it's more 3D here, but when you're 2 as 1, it becomes much easier. And we have the 12 of the hanging out with self and self-initiation. Again, that represents the people waking up too, being by themselves. And then the need to be alone. And there's that beautiful, I love the colors in this card, the cloak of the 50 of emotional fulfillment, right? The need for peace, time alone to decompress, right? And release your energy, become centered again. And it's very much in Libra right now, showing you how to balance yourself. The bottom of the deck here is devotion to the small. The 32 of the journey and devotion to the small, which very much came up regarding the starlings and taking care of their babies in the nest. There's so many babies around now. And then dream a little is 51 of the King of Swords in the feminine energy, right? Put the power here. Devotion to the small on the journey, right? Open heart and a leap of faith. Just trust that all is well and focus on the vulnerable and innocent, whether it's children or flowers or pets, whatever is vulnerable in your environment right now, which will open your heart. All right, let's see what they have to say for us. All right, so the first card out was the Dear One, which of course is Earth. The Deer is loving, intuitive, graceful, and the mother. And here we're focusing on the little ones. The Deer represents the feminine aspects of Earth energy. This energy is available to all creatures, regardless of gender, but is especially potent in new parents. During the first few days, they are fully present, nurturing, and calm. Their inner beauty radiates, and a sense of grace calms the room. A Deer personality affects others in this way, drawing them toward a quiet tenderness. The Deer card may appear when a birth or celebration of new life draws near, or when a situation calls for absolute gentleness and compassion. When in balance, they're receptive, compassionate, and nurturing. When they're out of balance, they're concerned and protective. To bring them back into balance, nature and children, right? And I definitely spent a lot of time around little kids because we have so many little kids already. I think we have 8 grands already and 2 more on the way. Is that right? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's 8 altogether. So we have 6 with 2 more on the way. Okay, so that was the Deer one. So that's you as like a new parent. And then the first card out for the Dance of the Planets, 56. The Linda and Paul McCartney energy for me. There are forces larger than your own personal destiny at work in your life now. Although they are not inharmonious to you, you may feel as though you're being blocked from, or on the other hand, rocketed towards the heavens on a roll that nothing can derail. Either way, the planets are dancing as they will, and there is an effect upon your destiny. It was meant to be at this time. From rising, there will be gentle rest to recover before rising again, and from restraint, there will be a propulsion to greater stratospheres. All things in time, according to the wisdom of greater cycles. It is okay to trust the cosmic cycles and divine timing. After all, what point is there to rush to the bus stop if the bus doesn't depart till tomorrow? And what point is there to hold back if you're ready to set to go? Trust in the timing and rhythm of your life now, especially if it seems out of your control. That is the dance of the planets happening through you. The oracle brings a message. Pray that the planetary forces funnel blessings of grace and unconditional love, mercy and joy to you now, that their movements through your life may happen in such a way that you can make the most of it. These are the times when big shifts are possible, supported by cosmic movements. So breathe and pray for grace and then enjoy the ride. In those days, time was ours. We walked in the rain and held each other's hands. It was just 58-58, the connection of the four of swords in the 5D. Your lips warm against my skin, and your soul melting into mine, and night became morning amongst the cobblestone walks of now forgotten places we called ours. All right, so breathe, you guys, breathe. Remember to drink enough water and get enough rest whenever you can. and to get plenty of joy, to get plenty of nature and sunshine, and be calm and be easy on yourself. You know, don't be your worst enemy. Be kind to yourself and patient with yourself and others. And remember to breathe. And breathe. And rise and be love as usual. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.